JamiaTV, Beacon for the Nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. I hope you had a wonderful and peaceful night yesterday. Welcome to the Muslim Insight Show. My name is Zamzam Ahmed, and today we are going to talk about the effect of screen time on mental health. You know, some things are part of our daily lives, like screen. If it's not in school, if it's not at home, if it's not at work, if it's not this TV, it can be the cell phone or the smartphones. If it's not the smartphones, then it can be the laptops or tablets. Now, how does it affect our mental health? In studio today, I am joined by Amina Hussein, who is a psychologist and will help us understand more on this effect and how we are going to reduce our time on screens. Amina, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Vipi hali?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
MashaAllah. I hope your morning is well.
A bit hectic kidogo juu ya jam, but alhamdulillah it's good.
It's good that you're here also, and thank you so much for honoring this invite. And our aim here is to make people understand on the different issues affecting the society, the different effects of screen time on mental health. Now, maybe to ask or to begin with, what are the most common effects of screen use on mental health among young people? Because young people are the most that are using smartphones, tablets, laptops, computers and everything.
Okay, Zamza, just as you've started with the introduction, I know your question talks about young kids, but screen has become second to nature, in that we have to deal, it's a more of a lifestyle, in that we have to deal with it every time. If it's not at work, it's at school. If it's not at school, it's at home for entertainment, sending email, watching movies, series, going through platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and all these other platforms. So we find that screen time cuts across both ways. It's both negative and positives. Just you having that discipline to be able to manage the both. So when you talk about the common effects of screen time on young kids, we find that the majorly one right now, most young kids are on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube sometimes, and Facebook for a bit older kids. So we find that in these platforms, they're exposed to many things, one of which being other people's content, and with this content you find that they are edited, added filter. So these kids, when they are exposed to this content, they are unaware that this only covers half part of these people's life. So it's constantly trying to compare yourself. So it's like Zamzam has posted about going to Mombasa. Why am I not in Mombasa? Zamzam has posted about she's maybe smoking something, and then it looks like there's a way they glamorize all these things so that these kids...
It creates that pressure on them.
Yes, it creates that pressure on them. Apart from that, the image that is put across in these platforms, the body image, how our body is supposed to look like. So it's for the girls, the size 8, having flat tummy, having calves. For the boys, having, nowadays, they want abs, they want to like go to the gym. And some of these things are... even for these people who are posting, they filter out part of their body, like they make themselves slimmer, they make themselves lighter. You find that these kids now succumb to the pressure to want to look in a certain way, to a point they'll find that they'll end up having eating disorder, because I don't want to eat so that I can maintain that figure. So apart from that, one thing you've just talked about it, it's really affecting us, the sleep disturbance that is caused by the screen. So when you are, especially these phones emit a blue light in which it affects the melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. So you find that after using the screen 1 hour or at even half a minute before sleep, you find hard to fall asleep. Not even just falling asleep, even staying asleep. So you have already fallen asleep. 30 minutes into the sleep, you're already awake because of this blue light, and also the mental overload that comes with it. Also, part of it is the disconnection that comes with the connection to the virtual life. So we think so much, we are very connected nowadays because we are able to even connect to the friends who are abroad, connect to the friends who are up country, but in real sense, in this we forget our social skills. We don't know how to approach people. Now the social anxiety kicks in. You are scared of even to get out talking to people because you are used to being at the back of your screen talking to people. So that has been the main mode of communication. Apart from that, there's also the factors of what are people keeping up with the trends. You seek validation through the likes, through the comments. If you don't get that now, you have a low mood, you are sad. So these are some of the things that's affecting young kids here.
Okay, I'll come to something that you've mentioned about sleep, but later on, because I believe that is something that most people are really affected. And if you go to different homes that has kids, you find that even the kids have tablets. They're playing using it. Now, when we talk about young people, we're talking about the youth. But you also see that young people, those kids between the age of 1 to 5 or maybe 1 to 10, they have tablets. How can it create or how can it be an effect or the impact that it creates on those kids?
Okay, when we talk about screen time in terms of younger kids, so when we talk about screen time, it's not limited to any age, because young kids use, adolescents use, younger adults and older adults, all of them use it.
But tunaona hadi wazee kwa TikTok,
well,
which is not bad, but again, there are limits. Okay.
You know, back in the days when I was in high school, there was a rule that my father had. He was like, you can't serve two masters at a time. So it's either you are in school or you are having fun. So for him, it was until you are done with Form 4, I'm not buying you any phone. He won't, and he doesn't budge. Like he's very strict in that rule. And I think it really helped. Now let's get into, especially now the younger kids, age 1 to 3. So we found there's a current trend whereby the screens are the ones taking care of our kids, because you find the mother is maybe busy cooking, busy taking care of other kids, so they'll just put that kid in front of the screen and then they'll be still watching, and then you can go on with their day without them throwing tantrum or this other thing. But the problem now comes in, you see, at that formative age of kids, they learn by hearing and responding, in that when you talk to them and you respond, maybe through the family, the father, the mother, they learn through that. But when you put them in front of the screen, they just learn by hearing. So what is working? The hearing, auditory is the only part that's working. So this is a one-way communication. There's no responding. So in a long run, you'll find that they'll have speech delay, because they are just learning to hear. They don't know how to respond. And in psychology, we usually say that not even psychology, generally, every part of our body are functioning. They are created to be functional. So one day Zamzam will decide that I don't want to use this hand. 1 week, 2, you are just holding it this way. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then eventually it doesn't function. Like you will really want to get back to it functioning, but it doesn't function. That's what happens to their speech. So they are not using their vocal cord. So now the speech delay comes in. And then also the factor of sleep disturbance in kids still bad. You'll find that these kids, they are on the screen for maybe 10 minutes or 1 hour before sleep. And this same blue light, you'll find that it affects the melatonin. Now the kids can't fall asleep, can't stay asleep. So they are only an interval of maybe 30 to 1 hour. It's only when they can't sleep. And then the factor that they don't learn social cues, because of they are just used to that cocomelon, that baby fin, that cartoon they've been used to. They don't know how to relate with other people who are around them. And we find even some kids end up even speaking like cartoons. I've seen several, like they speak and then we're like, what language is this? But it's the language that they're learning through the screen. And you'll find that even their emotional regulation it's kind of affected, because you'll find that if they are not on screen, you just try switch that thing off, or even an ad comes in, and then the baby is throwing tantrum, is crying, so they are used to being distracted and getting comfort from these screens. Yes.
Okay, now let's stick to the kids. I know the bigger population are the youth, but at least, you know, something starts from when we are little.
Yes.
Now, if we start teaching our kids to be using tablets, to be using phones and everything, it will reach to a point whereby they know nothing apart from the phones. Now, how or what impact does it cause on the relationship between the parents and the kids who have the phones?
So you'll find in most households, the caregivers, everyone has their screen of their own. The father is on the TV, maybe watching news. The mother is on the laptop, maybe sending emails or maybe watching YouTube videos. Now the older kids have their phone, and nowadays there's a very big trend in which kids are, even if it's not even kid friendly, just has apps that is for at their age. So these kids are given laptop to stay with. These laptops, you find that everyone is occupied with their own screens. So the connections that you used to, maybe the mother talking to the baby, the family maybe even laughing together, talking together, it doesn't exist nowadays. You find that we are going to the dining table and everyone is eating while holding their phone. So the connection that was there, it's really dying, and this makes kids grow up with zero social cues, zero empathy, zero problem-solving skills. So when they go out there, they don't know how to approach people. They don't know how to regulate their emotion better, or even how to live with people, because they are used to this screen, and this screen doesn't provide every information that you need to be active member part of the society. Yes.
Now let's talk about self-esteem and body image. I know in the first question you've mentioned about the effect of screen towards people who are using it, and you've mentioned about huyu mtu ameona content on maybe TikTok and is like, huyu akona hivi, why not me? This guy has an abs, why not me look for them? This lady has a figure 8 and everything. Now, how does spending time on social media like TikTok, Instagram and other platforms that most people use impact our self-esteem and the body image?
So in the life whereby we are so much hooked into these apps, so these apps has created for us beauty standard, the right body weight to have, the right skin color, which is more preferred, the body that is preferred. So you find that in the current trends, we find that in Kenya nowadays, there's the availability of BBLs. There's the upcoming trends of Ozempic, in which we find our celebrities or people who, the influencers, they are championing for these things. So, and here as Zamzam, I know my weight. Some people, their weight doesn't even come from maybe overeating or lack of a proper lifestyle. Some of them is genetic, but this person is behind the screen watching and they say, this is the wrong body that I have. What can I do? So they succumb to this pressure in a way. They'll go for Ozempic, but before going into it, there's a health hazard that comes with it. So before going into all these things, they know the certain beauty standard, how I'm supposed to look, how not even the body, even the success, it's being defined by the influencers. So back in maybe 1, 2, 3 years ago, I was working towards getting a Mazda CS5. And by the time it's reaching now, I have that money, I want to go and purchase it, and then to get that sense of fulfillment, I've worked for what I've got. But by the time it's 2026, people are buying GLE. I don't have money for GLE. What am I supposed to do with that? So by the time I'm buying that in Mazda CS5, I'm like, this is just... I've done nothing. People are far ahead, but in real sense, if you hadn't focused on other people's success, you'll find that your success, you are contented with what you have, but we are constantly comparing ourselves. And then maybe you have posted something out there, you have that body, and then there's people out there who have their own insecurities. So they are projecting, and then they comment something like, Amina, you have big cheeks. And then, so from that time, you are low, your mood is low, you are constantly, you didn't even have a problem with it, you are constantly checking your face. What's happening to my face? What's happening to my face? So now you have low self-worth because why don't I have a very defined cheekbones like other people? Apart from that, there's the aspect of drugs, and you find that there's a lot of events that is happening around, and then these teenagers are just watching. Some of them come from a low background, in that they can't afford these things, but because at the end of the holiday they want to go back to school and have those big stories. Oh, I went to this, I went to Solfis, I went to this and this and this, but they can't because of finances. So you'll find they feeling left out, they are feeling low self-worth because they can't be able to get to that. And also there are people who raised very well in their household, they know drugs is bad, but when they are going to they are shown that these TikTokers are smoking the vapes, they look very fancy, they smell very nice, and then you are like, I want to conform, I want to belong to I want to belong. So you'll find them using this thing, influence they never wanted. So they'll use it because of the peer pressure now.
Now let's talk about an individual comparing themselves with what is online. Or what emotional effect does it cost?
Okay, so this individual, maybe say, let's take you per se, Zamzam. Zamzam is there posting. Maybe you started going to TikTok, to Instagram for entertainment purposes, but who are you exposed to? So you're like, you can't compare yourself with somebody maybe who's Maju, but you can compare yourself to your peers. So Zamzam is as a 20-year-old. What are other 20-year-olds doing? So you look at Amina's Instagram. Amina is booming. She has 1 million likes. I have 3. What's wrong with me? You end up questioning who you are. So in a late, they end up to low self-worth. Like, people are getting views, people are getting likes, people are getting endorsements through this posting. But I've been posting for the last 5 years. What's wrong with me? People don't like me. Am I the problem? So you'll find they started questioning that. Another way, what kind of people are you exposing yourself to? You're exposing yourself to dancers, you're exposing yourself to models, you're exposing yourself to people who have relationships, but we don't know the fact that these people only expose 10 part of their life. So the ugly part, they hide it. But with us, we compare with their highlights. Una compare life yako na highlights ya somebody who's in the back. You don't know what is going on in their life. So you end up, it's constantly self-comparison. You get anxious for likes, for comments. You're sad. Every time you go into these apps, you are sad because you're not amounting to what they can. Yes, I think.
Okay. Now let's look at the health perspective about anxiety, mental health, anxiety and stress. How does excessive screen use contribute to anxiety and stress?
Okay, the main one being that the likes and the comments and the shares. So I've done a very good content. When you look at it, I've outdone myself today. So like, hey, let me post it, and then I post, and then comments. The interaction, the comments are dead. So you have only five views, which is your family members, and then you're like, you're constantly anxious to look at that video, to see the progress, to see the interaction, but the interaction is not there. So go back to the same way, low self-worth. Another way, you are so behind the screen, like when I find you don't get outside, you don't get real life interactions. So when it comes to time where you have to go for these real life events, maybe you have a family event, you have to go outside, talk to a friend, your social skills have reduced in a way. You're even afraid to go and talk to people. And also, again, with the self-comparison, sometimes just imagine you are working, maybe you are earning some good money, but maybe your money can't buy what other people have. So won't it stress you? So you are watching this person saying, oh, I'm going, come with me as I go to Dubai, come with me as I buy Louis Vuitton, and you're constantly asking, why not me? So you now find this self-comparison start affecting you due to overexposure to these screens, and then you end up stressing. And some of the overstimulation that comes with the constantly scrolling. You are just there doom scrolling. By the end of the day, you are mentally exhausted. So leads to Now by the time you are tired, you can't do most of the things that you're supposed to do. And if you have a routine, by the end of the day you go back and look, you haven't done most of the things, end up to looking, you're feeling very sad because you haven't done what you're supposed to do by the end of the day.
Okay, there is something that you've mentioned about sleep, and this is something that most of the people are really affected with. Unapata mtu is sleeping at 1, is sleeping at 2, just because she or he has been spending time on screen. How does it affect our sleep?
Okay, so most of us, I know, nobody wakes up during the day and say, I'll scroll through the day. Go like, no, let me just do 5 minutes. And then, wow, it's 1 hour, it's 2 hours, 3 hours. So that's the same thing that happens when you are trying to sleep. So, okay, like, let me go to sleep. Then you are like, let me check just the WhatsApp. And then you go WhatsApp. As you are in WhatsApp, notification will come from TikTok. There's a video that somebody has just posted. Now we start scrolling. So this blue light emitted by the screens now affect our melatonin, the hormone that is in charge of sleep. So when it's affected, you find that you have already shut down your phone, but like 5 minutes before you are on your screen. So when you shut down your phone, you are sleeping, but you are unable to sleep. So now effects such as insomnia, you're like, I'm having insomnia, but the effect now is the screen. So you are not falling asleep. Then you fall asleep.
Okay.
You can't stay asleep because the melatonin hormone and also the dopamine released. So these likes, these videos, they release the reward system, the reward hormone. So you find that you're overstimulated to a way you can't sleep. So you can't sleep, you can't stay asleep. So what happens? You wake up tomorrow, you haven't had enough sleep. What will happen to Zamzam? Zamzam will wake up cranky, very irritable, very agitated, and throughout that day you won't function properly because either you're having headache, either you're feeling sleep deprived. So the work that you're supposed to do for that day, eventually you won't do it. So at the end of the day, how do you measure our worth? What have I been able to do by the end of the day? Not even what you have been able to do by that day, but have I committed to doing it? But because you didn't sleep well, you are unable to function well. So at the end of the day, now you are sad, now you are anxious about deadlines that you are supposed to meet, and that's what happens.
Okay, that one brings me to something else about concentration and productivity. And you've mentioned about timeline of your work. So how does screen addiction, because I know most of us are really addicted to our phones, to our screens, laptops and everything that we have. So how can this addiction affect our concentration, our productivity on our day activity?
Okay, let's start with the concentration. So back in the days, we used to, screen time was limited to maybe evening TV time with the families, where we'll watch programs like Inspector Mwala, we'll watch the programs that usually air from 7 to 8, and then you're back to sleep. But nowadays, those programs used to run for an hour, and then we watch it for an hour. But nowadays, you have the content that is put out there is 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and also the ability to skip up to the last part. So we are used to this instant gratification, whereby you know where it starts, where it ends. So why would I subject myself to watch a full series where I can watch in TikTok summarized in 5 minutes? So with this, now it starts to affect our concentration. So we are used to these short videos. So when we go back, maybe for people in academics, so when you go back to school, the teacher teaches for 40 minutes straight. So you are like, what am I supposed to do for 40 minutes? And I'm used to having 5 minutes. So you are unable to concentrate. And if you can't concentrate, it means that you won't grasp a lot of things. Then eventually ending up not performing well. Also, let's take an example of yourself. So you'll go to, like this program is running, there are people who are watching, but they are watching maybe they're watching on the television and they have their phone. They can't stick to like just watching Zamzam and Amina full time. So they are watching, they are looking, because their concentration now is affected. The productivity comes in, for the productivity now it comes in whereby you are like, you have a deadlines of work, you have to go to school, you have to prepare meals, but you get your phone. You're scrolling for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Sometimes even you don't notice how the end of the day reaches. You're like, when you open the curtain, you're like, oh, it's night. Because you are hooked to this phone in a way that you can't do other things. That's how you can't manage your work by the end of the day, because you are constantly looking at these phones, looking at the likes, looking at the comments, watching videos, scrolling. So by the end of the day, you've scrolled for half the day, and now what will happen to the things that you're supposed to do for the half of the day? You haven't done it. Now affects your productivity.
Wow, that's amazing. I want us to take a short break, but you know, most of the people or most of the young people don't like hearing about the negativity of something that they are used to. Now the exam is here. Now mtihani wanasema inakujia hapa. How do I minimize the use of screen, because it's an effect, it's creating effect towards my life in terms of my mental health, in terms of my concentration at work, my productivity, the relationship that I have with people, the relationship that I have with myself. Therefore, we'll be back in our second segment to talk about on ways of how we are going to minimize the use of screen. Therefore, stay tuned, don't go far.
JamiaTV, beacon for the nation.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri,
alitunukiwa sura nzima,
sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rrajim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ati fas'au ila dhikrillahi wa dharul bay'. Dhalikum khayrun lakum in kuntum ta'lamun.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on JamiaTV.
Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا وعرضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول مرة بل زعمتم أن لن نجعل لكم موعدا.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Kwa kusoma Qur'an ni lazima isomwe namna ilivyoteremshwa. Asema Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, warattilil Qur'ana tartila. Uwe ni mwenye kusoma Qur'ani namna ilivyoteremka. Asema Dhihaki rahimahullahu ta'ala, harfan harfa, kuisoma herufi baada ya herufi. Na ni vipi tuisoma Qur'ani?
JamiaTV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you so much for keeping it at JamiaTV. This is our second segment of the Muslim Insight Show, and today we are looking at the effects of screen time on our mental health. We've looked at quite some effects, and now when we have a challenge, the question is, how do we navigate it? Okay, so in this segment we are going to look at maybe a little of the positive impact social media has created or screen time has created to our lives, and also how do we minimize. You know, it's not easy to get off from an addiction, right?
Yes.
But there is a way to how or there is a way to minimize it. Now let's look at the positive impact it has created in our lives.
Okay, while I was starting, I talked about the screen time being a double-edged sword, in that it has its positive and it has its negative. For the positive, we can't refute that it's a lot, because it depends on how you are using that screen. So the first one and the main one, the information that is out there online about school, about therapy, about, like, there's a lot of information that you can learn from that is on the internet, which is a positive. Another one is the emerging trend of the virtual therapy. Nowadays, back in the days, the only therapy that was there was the face-to-face therapy. Now you are able to do online therapy for the people who are not able to come to the office, for those people who have they have a busy schedule, for the people who are far away. So there's that. And also, apart from the therapy, there's online classes. I know back, let's say, before 2019, the screen time was there, but not as much as during the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, and then now the lockdown happened. So the only thing that how we stayed connected was through online time. So the work was through online, the classes were through online, therapy was through online, everything was online based. So that's how most of people got addicted to that. So we find that this same internet helps us to stay connected with families from abroad. You have families in America, now you can communicate every day through video calls, through online calls. Also, people back in the Watoshago, now you can get them, if they have Wi-Fi, you can call them, talk to them, and stay connected. Also, there's a community, the virtual community that is created. So you find that people who are going through depression, people who are going through anxiety, form a group which is an online based, and then they meet so that they can be able to help each other. There's a lot of positive impact in terms of the screen time. There's a lot of learning going on. There's a lot of connection. There's a lot of whatever we get in from it, but we are the one to determine what is flowing into our phone. How we are going to curate our feeds to give us the most benefit.
You know, I have a friend that deleted her TikTok account. Or not TikTok account, but the app itself, because she felt like it's really eating up her time, most of her time, and she's in school. Now, coming to something else is about bedtime. Most people spend most of their time, it's like a habit, it's like a dose, you know. Using our cell phones is like a dose for us, you know? So how do or what are the ways that I can minimize the use of these smartphones when I am going to sleep?
Okay, So one of the factors a lot of people are experiencing insomnia, leave alone the people who are medically diagnosed with insomnia. So these people, we've talked about the melatonin, the blue light. Now how can we solve that? So for people who are affected with this, you can maybe start to practice a routine whereby before you go to bed. See, most people, maybe you live in a house where you have downstairs and upstairs. So you leave your phone in the living room and then you go to bed without it.
Na watu wa bed sita hapa nini?
Watu wa bed sita unaacha tu kwa TV stand unaenda kwa kitanda. So what you do is that by the time, maybe not, but it still depends on what time you are doing it. So you have used it for up to 11 and then you are leaving it. It doesn't mean that. It means that maybe you usually go to bed at 10. So 1 hour, 2 hours before that, leave your phone there, then you go back to sleep. Another way, it can be by like turning off the notification. You'll find that some days you don't even want to use your phone. You are sleeping and then you hear that sound and then you're intrigued. What's happening? Maybe I'm missing out. Let me go and check what's happening. You go and check one video and you don't know how one video ends up to 30 videos. And now it's 12. You can't fall asleep. You have to go to work tomorrow. Now that affects our sleep. So apart from that, also having a very strict routine, and you said it's really hard to get over an addiction, but small habits like the ones that I've talked about, small habits, some days you might relapse back to using the whole day, but that doesn't mean now you go back to using completely. So it means that there are days that they are going to be hard. There are days that you are supposed to be, you have deadlines and you have to have that phone at night. So consistently having one routine in a way, by the time I'm sleeping, phones are down. And I've seen household whereby the ones I've talked about, there's no going with phones to the bedroom. So you're having sleep problem, toss and turn until you fall asleep. So by the time you are leaving, everyone leaves their phone. They have maybe a place where they put it, and then everyone goes to sleep. Now with that, if you train yourself, you'll find that by maybe 1 month, you're already falling asleep the right way. I have my sisters. Let me talk about my sisters. 2 of them, they have this. They claim they have insomnia, but when you find them at 11 p.m. 12, and then you're still like, I don't fall asleep. I don't fall asleep. How can you fall asleep but you are using your phone? So they are using their phone up to the wee hours of the night, and then you want to fall asleep immediately.
Let me say something on that one. It's something that I have also experienced. Sometimes it's not the screen that we hold or the gadget that we hold when we are sleeping. At times you might have or I might have switched off the Wi-Fi and then I'm trying to sleep. But again, I'm unable to sleep in the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes because I'm just rolling, tossing kwa kitanda. Now how is that?
Zamzam, you have switched off your gadget and you have already created a routine in that your brain is used to sleeping at 12.
Okay, now if it's 12, imefika hiyo 12, how or what can you describe that as?
That's because that's more of how you've wired your brain. Sometimes you can't say your brain really wants routine and discipline. In that, when you do something constantly, there's times whereby you'll find that people who really have a good sleeping routine, when you're no longer on time, imefika 9 on the dot, they are already dozing because brain yao isha register. This is my time to sleep. But with you, how strict in your nini? One day you are sleeping at 11, one day you are sleeping at body.
You don't have a regular sleeping routine.
Yes, in that your brain is used to where people are tired at 11. Oh, I'm dying to sleep, but we uko macho hivi. Kwa akili yako inasema sisi baka 3 atulalangi and you won't sleep. So you teach it that way, and then you are shocked. I don't get sleep. When people tell you, I have a friend who sleeps at 8, and then I'm like, oh my God, I feel like that's a blessing, but I feel to need more of a routine. Yes.
Okay, now you've mentioned about sleeping, and I've quite met some people. I have also someone else. He tells me that he only sleeps for. Okay, he doesn't spend much time on the screen. He's always working through the day. na akija jioni, that is when he takes out his phone or maybe whatever he's using to watch maybe a movie or something, and he sleeps for about 2 hours or 3 hours, ndo anaamka asubuhi akiwa fresh. And what hours, how many hours should a person sleep?
They sleep and they have like a good proper sleep for the 2 hours.
Yeah.
I beg to differ with that, because that's just you are just used to telling your body that it's enough, but there's a lot of things that happens during when you sleep. Or there's this song that like God knew when he said when the sun goes away, this is the time to sleep. Because there's a lot of things happening, because that's when you are short-term memory in a pelekwa to long-term memory. That's why you'll find people who sleep like that ritual, they keep on forgetting things. Because ukilala body yako ina rejuvenate. There's a rest that you get when you have that 8 to 10 hour sleep. So for those people who are having a very hectic work, and you will find some even develop migraine because of staying up very long, like you are sleeping less. Your body isn't getting the enough rest it's supposed to get. So the recommended is 8, 9 to 10 hours, but from 8 that's good. But those people who sleep less, eventually you find that you start having migraines, unaanza kumwa kichwa, you're not as productive, you are irritated throughout the day, and then to a point where unaanza ku experience burnout, because your body is tired, the body is not getting the proper rest it's supposed to get. Yes.
Okay, let me ask this as an individual. How is your time on screen?
I think we talked yesterday about this, the day before yesterday, about this interview, and as I was preparing for it, like I was like, let me just look into it, and then as I was looking to it, I succumbed to the same addiction. Wallahi, I had said
but at least there are some days that you feel like leo it's a good day. So your day-to-day activity, hiyo siku moja yenye una feel like you've minimized the use of phone, how is it?
So the best way is by having a routine. So and in the night you have maybe a timetable of what am I supposed to do tomorrow. So I get to work at 8. So from 8 to 9, what do? Maybe you're a doctor, you administer medication to clients. From 8 to 9, for Muslims or for Christians, you say maybe this time I'll read the Quran, maybe 1 juz or half juz, or 1 verse or 2 verses. From there, what am I supposed to do? I have how many clients? I have 3 clients. So the first client, I'll see them from 11 to 12, then take a break. During that break, what are we supposed to do? I'm going to prepare for the next client. Then the 3 clients you've divided up to say up to 4. From 4 to 5, maybe you are winding up you are closing up on the things that you are supposed to do. Then 5 you go at home. You go at home for people who are mothers, people who are girls. For us who in the Muslim household, we know when you go there, you have to help in the kitchen. So una help in the kitchen. Let's say maybe you serve dinner, and then maybe you take a rest for an hour. Let's say that's from 8 to 9. 8 to 9, maybe scroll for those people who need to reply to email, for the people who need to stay connected with the news or this positive way of using the screen. You do that. Then 9, it's already 10. 10 for the Muslim, maybe you have already prayed Isha. For the people who pray a little bit later, you pray Isha. Now then you leave your phone there. Just trying to create a routine and having discipline, because Zamzam, I'll go with it, and then I'll tell myself I won't look at it. I've switched off everything, but just because it's very accessible, I'll take it. But when we think about the fact that I need to see some video, but you have to go downstairs and take that phone, so it's a lot of work. So when you create that discipline, now you go to sleep, and it doesn't happen in one day. You go like, I've switched off my phone and I'm not sleeping yet. It takes time, discipline and consistency, and eventually now you'll get to you are sleeping at the right time, you are using less and less of the screen, and also habits like going back to reading books. The people back in the days, you will find people in matatus outside reading books, but nowadays, as I was even coming for this interview, everyone was in the car like scrolling down. Also habits like going for walks. That time that you feel the urge to take that phone, leave that phone, wear your boots, go and take a walk, or having conversation, a real-time conversation and interaction with people rather than in this virtual connection.
Okay, now you know it's normal that sometimes people don't realize when their mental health is being disturbed using the screen. Now, for a person who doesn't know about mental health, now combine mental health and screen, how can I or can someone recognize that screen use is negatively affecting their mental health?
Okay, first one and the main one is, how do you feel after using that app? What goes on after you've shut down that phone? So you'll find for most people, they'll take that screen, watch videos. By the end of the time that they are switching off their phone, they're already having low moods. They're already sad. They're already anxious to know who's posting. So what are the after effect of using that screen? So you've watched that screen, umejikompare na kila mtu, then now you're feeling worthless. You're feeling that you've done nothing. You're feeling very unsuccessful. Now you know it's really affecting you negatively. Apart from that is the social skills. You'll find that you start experiencing social anxiety. So you have to go for a wedding and then you're like, how am I supposed to be around 50 people? How am I supposed to talk to people? How am I supposed to, like, there's a lot of that. And also the fear of missing out, as the Gen Z call it FOMO. You find that you are watching these people and you're feeling that you're not doing anything. Like you are always being left behind. You are always not at par with other people. You're feeling that way. Apart from that, the negative consequences also is in sleep disturbance. You find that you sleep less. You have difficulty sleeping. So another thing is when you feel I think we've never been connected the way we are connected right now because of the internet. But with this much connection, we are so disconnected in that our relationship. How are we with our friends? So we don't have this real life connection and relationship with the people around us. Like we've stuck to these friends that we have on screen. Some of them we don't even know them, but what's happening to the real lifetime? The connection are there. The caregivers and the baby and the children are not connected because everyone is on their life, on their screen. So it affects it negatively in these factors. Okay,
now for a person who spends more time on the screen and we're just using or open our apps, our TikTok apps, scroll on the different contents that are there. But are there ways that I can use or put into good use this gadget?
Yes.
How?
I think mostly is by having healthy boundaries with the screen. So when I talk about healthy boundaries, what do I mean? It means by having screen limits.
Okay.
Example, you've told yourself, if I use this screen for 2 hours, for the next 2 hours I won't touch it. So it means I'm having a discipline with the screen. Apart from that, there's a way you can curate your feed. The TikTok has an algorithm. In a way, you can like and tell it to not suggest such videos. So you go and look at the beneficial videos, the one for knowledge, the one where you gain insight of things. So you have a way to curate it. So you can do that. Also, the factors where there's a lot of information out there online. For someone who is experiencing something, can just go there, Google it out, read all. There's a lot of PDFs and books written about this thing where you can access it through online. Also, positively staying connected with your friend, calling, video call, and all these other things. It helps you stay connected with family and all these other people. When screen time is not all negative, it has its positive. You just have to have healthy boundaries with this screen time. Yes.
Okay. Now, for a family setup whereby we have younger kids being bought the tablets, how do we ensure, or how should parents ensure that their kids don't spend more time on this screen? At least they should get enough sleep, at least they should have a good concentration in class and everything about it.
Okay, for that, let me start by firstly saying kids under 3, 0 screen time is recommended for them.
Okay.
0. So for the others now, the older ones, all the younger
So
kids.
after 3.
After 3. I think the best way as a caregiver, you can lead by example, because you can't tell me don't choose your phone, but you are uko like wacha kutumia simu, and then uko kwa simu yako wewe mwenyewe, and then it's like I'm learning from you. You're supposed to be role model, so I'll just choose it. So I think by creating healthy habits, we have said screen time limits. So you are like, you are going to use your phone after school for an hour. And you are strict with that. After that 1 hour, you teach them to be disciplined in a room. They can bring back their laptops after an hour. So it's a strict rule. Another one, having screen-free zones. You're like, when you're at the dining table, no phones. When you are in your rooms, no phones. At this particular time, no phones. And also creating habits like reading together. So buying books, like story books unawapatia individually, and you are having your own. You sit and do that. Going for jogs, going for exercises, like having them interact with you. After they come home, you are talking to them. What has happened to you? What's happening in school? How are you? Having that real time connections. I think most of it is that, and also just creating a routine with them, having discipline with these gadgets. And also you can, it's up to you, it's your house, so you can have rules in a way. At what age should your kids be exposed to screen? And when you do that, don't just limit it in your household. So when these kids go outside, you're like, if they're having friends, you are communicating to these caregivers, other caregivers, that my kids I don't allow them to have this. And don't limit them in a way baka unafanya they start hiding, coming with screen and hiding them, or feeling left out. So just have a discipline in that you are like, I'm not giving you screen because of 1, 2, 3. And you'll find kids who are raised reading novels, having connection with their parents, like talking in real time. You'll find that these people are very outspoken, have empathy, they develop problem-solving skills, contrary to these kids who are raised by the screen.
Now, as we wind up, because I can see also time is really moving so fast, but at least I am amazed with our conversation. I have received the Friday bulletin, and I can see there is quite an interesting topic here, or headline. Says purity of heart, how to improve it. So maybe to ask you this question, you know, everything they merge, they marry each other. As an individual, how do you purify your heart? How do you make peace with yourself? How do you make peace with the people around you?
Okay, so I'll try to answer this the best way I can. I hope I won't, I would want to, but I hope I won't focus so much in the Islamic part, but I want to use it as a, because for us, Islam is a lifestyle. So for me, mostly you'll find, I think the main one is the Quran. The content that is there. When I stay connected with Allah through His Quran, through constantly making du'as to Him, I feel, I can't say my heart is pure, but I love. No, as Muslims, we're supposed to try.
We're not perfect, but again,
yes,
we try to meet the expectation, or rather, what has been written for us by Allah.
Yes, we hope that our heart is pure, inshallah. And apart from that is the aspect of what we expose. I'll go back to our topic, what we expose our hearts to. So the social media, what are you watching? So you're watching these bad videos. There's the availability of pornographic. There's watching people who are half naked, and these things affect your heart. Apart from that, there's also the aspect of watching other people's life, and then now you are becoming envious. You are becoming jealous of these people. Another way is by keeping your intentions clean. As Muslim, we know innamal a'mal binniyat. Everything you want, your heart to be pure, what are your intentions? Why? How do you want it? Are you just wanting it to be pure so that people can see you? Why do you want it to be pure? And also the aspect of tawbah and a lot of istighfar, like that. Because when you feel like you are sinning a lot and you're constantly not going back to Allah to like atone for those sins, you are constantly judging yourself, you are constantly feeling shameful, and your heart can't be pure while you are feeling there. And also not holding grudges when you wrong someone, asking for forgiveness. I think those are some of the things.
Okay, now as we wind up, perhaps what would your last take be to the people that are watching us right now, generally?
Generally, I'll want to focus on the topic that we did today, because it's something that's affecting all of us. For most problems, you'll find that it affects a certain group, the teenagers, the young adults, or the older. But this screen time is affecting all of us. So for my parting shot, control your screen time before it controls you. What do I mean? Create healthy boundaries with it before now you can't change anything.
Yes. Wow, thank you so much, Habibti. That was really, really amazing, and every day is a learning day.
That's true.
And wanasema hakuna mkamilifu, no one is perfect. We try and better ourselves and improve ourselves, and I really appreciate that you came here today. We've talked about it, and it's an issue that is really affecting most of the people. Now, because we've touched on purity of heart, how to improve it, that is just one of the different topics that are here on the Friday Bulletin. Perhaps you can grab yourself a copy and get to be on the know of what is happening around you or around the world. Maybe to read a few, we have the CIPK raises alarm over political goonism, premature campaigns and rising youth violence. That is something that has been occurring recently, and we've also talked about something close to this last week. There are quite some stories here. Jamia Mosque host work selection panel. We also have Ilm Academy becomes first Islamic school to qualify for World Scholars Cup. Now we say every day is a learning day. Take every opportunity, don't take it for granted. Take it very well, because si kila mtu gets to have that opportunity that you have. So be grateful for everything. Until next week, inshallah, may you have a blessed weekend. I have been your host, Zamzam Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.